guys, so just got back this weekend yesterday from being gone this weekend, and I'm super excited about all the things I learned while I was gone. But while I was gone, we got a call from the processor that said all of our meat was ready. So when Tim went and picked it up for me, needless to say, our freezers are full. So I need to empty some out. So today I'm going to tackle some of the lard that has been sitting in the freezer, and then I'm going to can it to empty out a little bit of our freezers. So I thought I'd take you along on that process. Okay, so our lard, how we get our lard. When we process our pigs, you have the option, most processors, to either get all of the excess fat or not. And so I opt for yes, because I want to use as much of my animals. If I'm going to raise them, I want to use as much of them as I can. So our processor makes us these humongous packages of lard. Now, if I were to ask him, he could package them into different, smaller amounts. But normally when I do this, I deal with all of it. So it's not completely thawed yet. But I'm going to deal with it as frozen as I can get my knife through it, because the lard obviously gets greasy because it's fat. So while my kids are playing before their rest time, I'm going to try to get this started, get this cut up, and start rendering this down today. Okay, so for clarification for the rest of this video, fat is pre-rendering, lard is post-rendering. I think I use them interchangeably in this next section, but clarification, fat, pre-lard, or pre-rendering, lard, post-rendering, and that's the melting down of fat into lard. Okay, so I'm gonna put just a tiny bit of water in the bottom of my pan. What that will allow for is when I put the fat in there and it starts to render, that bottom doesn't get burnt. But I'm not going to be putting enough in there that it taints the lard, because it's going to evaporate really, really quickly. All right, so we have about half of a pot full up of lard, and we've got about half of this bag. I should have weighed this beforehand, but I didn't think about it. The kids are getting ready to do their reading time for the day. So I'm going to go ahead and get this started. And then I'll scrape off the first bit of it into jars and then add the rest, excuse me, of the fat into this throughout the rest of the afternoon. And then probably tomorrow, we'll get it canned up. So I'm going to get this started and get them reading. All right, so I'm gonna render that on low and slow, and then that way it doesn't burn or cook. It just renders down real slowly and starts evaporating all the excess moisture. Okay, so this has been going less than an hour and on very, very, very low heat. So like 3. So this renders really quickly, but keeping it low keeps it from burning. So we stir it and let it go back to its thing. Okay, so I've been doing some other stuff while this is solidifying, and you can see how white and pretty that is. This tells me that this is perfect. So I am ready to go ahead and pull out more of this lard. And it is cooking down beautifully. Lots of different philosophies on what to do with your lard as far as storing it. Some people will freeze it. Some people are comfortable just with countertop stability, like with your mug of bacon grease. And then other people want to can it and pressure cook it. I have done all 3 because I don't know how long it's going to be until I use these, because I'm going to have so much. I'm going to opt to pressure cook it, and then it should be shelf stable for a good bit of time. I am not professional when it comes to pressure cooking, so I'm not going to tell you my process, but there's lots of research that you can find online on how to do this and the timing and all that jazz based on where you are located and your altitude. So I'm gonna get started, get these guys in the wall pressure cooker, get those sealed up, and then they should be shelf ready tomorrow. It is the next morning. So last night before I went to bed, I pulled a lard that I was pressure canning out of the canner. And this morning, they are almost solid and they are beautiful. They are white, which is what you want to see in your lard when it's at room temperature and cooled off. I'm not seeing a ton of like little bits in it, so I think I got it strained pretty good. That's super exciting. Out of that batch, I still have a lot of this. So I'm gonna render this really, really low and slow today. See how much of it renders out versus how much of it starts to brown. And I might try something different. I might try to make like a soup out of the cracklin. Something like a sausage kale soup or a sausage tortellini soup and see what it turns out like. Or sausage and potato. I think I have potatoes. So we may do that and just see what it tastes like. And if that works, then I have a solution for all my massive excess cracklin. But there are a couple of reasons why I really enjoy this rendering process. For one thing, it's super hands-off. Like I can go about my day and every time I come by, I just kind of put one little ladle in one of those jars and move on. So it's super simple as far as the process is concerned. I also really like it because it's something I already have. It's a material that I already have. When I render it down like this and make it usable, I'm wasting even less of this animal, which I think is, as somebody who eats meat, it's important to use that resource. And something else, good quality lard has a ton of vitamin D in it. And from what I understand from a doctor that I've spoken with, most West Virginians are low in vitamin D all winter long, just from where we have very cloudy days. And so don't quote me on this number, but I want to think it's like 10,000 units of vitamin D per tablespoon of lard. It's a crazy amount. If you get good lard, not that's got a bunch of processed stuff in it, but just like pure lard, it is got incredible benefits for you. There's mixed reviews on whether it's actually good for you or not, but for me, it's cost effective, it has potential health benefits, and it's available. So for me, those are 3 great reasons to use them. And then plus, like, it makes your vegetables, like if you saute it in vegetables or eggs or something, it just makes them taste really good. So that is one thing we do with our extra fat here around the homestead. I have quite a bit of that from where we've processed a couple pigs over the last year. So this week, that's going to be my goal, is to render a bunch of lard, clear out some freezer space, and get that all canned up for future use. Thanks for joining me on this video, and I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day.